So we're going to be able to chat with Oleg. Well, I'm really looking forward to having that conversation. So we're talking about incident management, right? DevOps, so during the war and kind of take on where that goes. Oleg's going to sort of focus and share on the Ukrainian experience, and we're going to have some questions, from the audience. Now, it occurs to me that although my scenario plan says that this is going to be a fireside chat, my scenario plan also suggests that it isn't going to be a fireside chat. So, Oleg, is this going to be a fireside chat or not?
Unfortunately, no, and I will have slides, so probably let's do slides.
Yeah, super.
I'm ready.
So ignore everything I just said about the fireside chat. My apologies. We'll get that cleaned up on the scenario. So Oleg's going to talk about incident management in a DevOps way during the war. He has slides. Please enjoy them. Take it away, Oleg.
Thank you. Great. So greetings, DevOps folks. The war came to our house very unexpectedly in the morning when we were going to work. In a few weeks, the war became the new normal for us. And I will focus and share Ukrainian experience on how to deal with incidents of your systems using DevOps methodology even during the war. So let's go. I'm Oleg and I'm born in Kyiv, live in Kyiv and stay in Kyiv right now. For the last years, I've grown up from the help desk, support, junior DevOps, just DevOps, senior DevOps, lead DevOps engineer, and right now I'm managing distributed team, so I deeply know how the incidents looks like from different perspectives, companies and businesses. Basically, I'm always working even during vacation or when sleeping because DevOps and DevOps approaches are my passion from starting from the scratch from Jess Humble and Patrick Deboa books. The main focus on complex and highly available and sometimes fault-tolerant infrastructure built on top of public clouds, especially AWS. My company specializing on machine learning workloads, training models on scale, and prepare huge presets of data for the trainings. As a result, worldwide customers in real time receiving push notification when somebody tried to damage car, stole a package from a front door of a house, and not receiving pop-up when simple wind comes or puppy goes through camera, From the other hand, I'm powering Kyiv DevOps community and managing DevOps Engineer Telegram channel with more than 5K subscribers and kindly saying this is a small blog for wide audience and mainly for Ukrainian DevOps engineers. In this talk and in these slides, we will cover following, and I will touch different approaches on how to set up proper processes that can save your infrastructure, save your applications, and even save your business during the war from incident management perspective. And we will cover a few ways that you need to focus to be prepared for any significant crisis, even war, to have a chance and establish business continuity. We will go through business continuity plan, disaster recovery plan, postmortems, hiring, building self-driving team, run books, self-healing architecture, and see how to use it in real life to pass across the most difficult time ever. And I will include examples, I will include use cases and share our experience. So let's go. Basically, we are the middle to big company in Ukrainian IT market with more than 1,000 employees across the globe. And we professionally doing machine learning at large scale, as I've previously mentioned. Mostly we are in AWS. I know that Amazon is DevOps Date partner, so hi guys. And we are using managed Kubernetes on top of it. Our massive workloads processing petabytes of data, and we have more than 50 critical applications in our data processing pipeline. My team have 7 amazing team members, and we are doing infrastructure as a code for everything, for every part, using Terraform. Sorry, Pulumi, I know that you're very nice too. For creating and sending incidents and incident events, we are using many components from Prometheus stack. I will not touch it. Create dashboarding with Grafana, creating Grafana dashboards and sending alerts into Opsgenie. I think you have very similar environment on top of Kubernetes because that's kind of silver bullet. And in our case, Opsgenie used for scheduling, escalating, and routing incidents across the team. That's how our typical environment and toolset looks like. I am describing it so you will see our situation from different angles. From the wider angle, you can feel our environment. And let's make a few steps back and try to imagine the most terrible night in my life. Try to imagine your evening. That's Wednesday, the middle of working week. You have a plans, you have schedule for tomorrow, you have meetings, one-to-ones, tasks. You need to deploy some new application to fix some pipeline and other, and unfortunately, it will never happen. You wake up and 5 a.m., very early morning from missiles, explosions, and every human in your city woke up from explosions with words, "It started." Try to think a bit about it. What to do next? As you can see, there is no time anymore. You can't change anything. You can add more documentation. You can't build new processes. You can't add more data into runbooks. You can't create meetings for knowledge sharing. You can't test any backups. No way. You don't have time. Because the biggest and the worst incident already happened. The only way to deal with it is to be properly prepared. We have been prepared approximately for 80% because you never can be prepared for 100%. And from the next slide, I will share experience, steps, and ways how to survive from the starting point back to normal on a second step from DevOps team perspective. That's partially unique experience, but I hope you will never use it. So the first major and the most major and valuable part is to transparently and quickly communicate with your team about company updates. In a few hours, we received a message from our director of engineering with direct words, "Hey, just one more thing. Just in case, for us, the main priority is your safety. Therefore, until you reach the place where you feel safe, do not worry about work." That's amazing. Also, company shared with us dangerous locations from business perspective and recommendation of moving into safe places or moving into company shelters few days before. So everyone knows how to save the life. Different side of this approach is that people and engineers are partially emotional and you need to take care about emotional side. Some of them too responsible and you need to double ping everyone to stop doing routine job, routine work and tasks and start to care about own safety. That's strange, but don't hesitate it because I'm fully sure there's always one team member from a team who will not start relocating until finishing some task because, for example, he said on stand up, it will be finished in time. You know what I mean. Accordingly to the human nature, from two different tasks, the human will choose the clearest one and the most important. But the clearest is the key. So in case the human or engineer don't understand what to do, where to move, what to take with yourself and other, he will choose to continue to work on some priority or on some ticket. That's a human essence, and safety first is the main and the most major point in my slides. Let's go next. What if I say our distributed team have been properly hired accordingly to diversity principles? So from 70 members, 2 members have already been abroad. Marina from my team stay in Portugal and Ivan stay in Poland. Many thanks for these countries, basically for all countries, and sending multiple sorry for Poland because of wrong Eurovision judgment. You know what I mean? Sorry, brothers. And 2 team members from my team was only partially affected. Even if you're in a safe place, your parents are not, your friends are not, and your parents can not be so lucky as you, so you're partially affected, and you need to handle all going across the family, including the working stuff, because all other part of team moving, relocating, trying to reach the safe places. And the lesson here is to hire different type of engineers from different locations, different time zones, with different expertise, different human nature, and it will help you to pass through any difficulties that may happen. Critical point in a diversity hiring and building your team is to share your knowledge and responsibility across every team member, so you will prevent a buzz factor. If you are not familiar in a buzz factor, that's about unique knowledge fully locked into one employee. For example, credential or access locking or just knowledge. So when this team member will be suddenly hit by a bus and spend some time for recovering without ability to work, nobody can help. So bus factor directly kill the business. And my approach here and suggestion to share areas of responsibility across at least 2 team members. So just try to understand what system you're responsible, write it down, and then assign at least 2 team members for each of them. Because someone can be on vacation, someone can have sick leave, even war or other incidents, crises, and the other team member can easily pick up it and be ready for helping and supporting on this area. Then you need to know that you can be a perfect buzz factor example. So as your team lead, slowly grow up your replacement, involve this replacement to your processes, teach, show your own approaches, because it will be outstanding help in crisis times, and it will be a great replacement when you will decide to go to the next opportunities of area of responsibility. Okay, on this step, your team in safe place and partially online, and the first thing you need to take care is to talk to management and agree on the most important priorities right now. It may be changed, so you definitely need to think to do the right and the most important job. You don't need to spend your time on uncritical alerts, for example, noisy warnings. And I'm assuming there is no annoying alerts in Europe's Genie, but anyway, I need to say it. In our case, we understand that we need to continue our progress on existing projects, measure available resources, and see if there are a chance to have at least some progress. And yes, fortunately, we quickly recovered because we have been prepared, and I will give exact suggestions, advices, and our experience on the next slide. Disaster recovery plan. So you need to know what to do if the worst case scenario happened. You need to be ready for it and think about potential issues which may happen on your workload and create a plan for resolving it. Disaster recovery plan must not be too detailed, but it should have all needed information for choosing right vector for resolving and include few plans in case one of them will not work, like plan A, plan B. And I know the multiple businesses with dedicated servers in Ukraine with hosting, colocation, for example, private bank, the biggest one in Ukraine, and Monobank, the most like famous, big players of Ukrainian banking system, was really affected by Russian invasion, and they immediately start migration into public cloud into European region. The interesting things here is estimates and measurements, because from my experience, every migration takes a lot of time and resources for months, even years. But these big banks performed their migration in less than a month, which seems extra speed on a high load and critical environment. Like very interesting point that how the crisis can speed you up. And the idea of disaster recovery plan is to know your potential issues, know vectors for resolving. It may never happen, but you will be ready for it. A few examples that you may discuss in your team. For example, database just simply goes down. Yep, I'm sure you have a replica or even a replica with a few hours lag, but anyway, think about it. Database have been deleted, and I know that you said prevent deletion flag in Terraform, but anyway, check it. Your data in DB can be corrupted, change it, even if you have migration, so think about it, double check. Kubernetes cluster, load balancer, and DNS provider, or just the whole internet can just gone, so you must be prepared. One more thing about runbooks. You should create it with alerts, names, with detailed steps. Basically, you need to have runbooks, and then you need to create the detailed explanation what's going on there in alert. You should point comments how to deal with these alerts, where to find more data, documentation, architecture schemas, Grafana dashboards, all other stuff related to affected system. It can help from different sides. For example, if you have runbooks, every developer or engineer with access and this alert instruction can help with dealing with alert, with resolving it. And the second idea here, if you have runbooks, you will be able to just simply offload alerts directly to developers or even to the dedicated support team from other country or spread it across the globe, at least for the low severity of your alert. Then runbooks should include helpful information on how to connect, how to debug, fix, confirm it's fixed, report it's fixed, so everyone with production access can take this documentation and resolve this incident. And the major point here, if you're reaching incident second time, please to create a ticket for automating or permanently fixing the issue. That's kind of a rule, so you can use in your real life. And the good practice to include into alert description as more information as you can, which can be helpful. So take a look what will be helpful in your situation, and post this information into alert, which will appear in your Slack channel or Opsgenie or any other place. And probably you can think about adding a workflow for creating alerts. In Jira, I mean that only alert with runbook can be merged into mainline. For sure, you should store it as a code. That's highly required. And think about simply adding a Jira workflow step for task with alerts, because actually you don't need an alert if no action required or nobody knows how to fix it. According to postmortems, I will say that less is more, so you should simplify postmortem. And in case of failures, you definitely should do postmortems, but in the simplest way that you can. You should store your own template so it can be easily reused. And I'm kindly suggesting not reuse Giants templates from the history book that I've pasted the link. So use different, but not use open source templates as well, because usually it's too big and you will waste time of pasting all required rows and lines to follow approaches that you probably don't need. Even in crisis, try to focus on things that matters. So find your own way and own template accordingly to widely adopted practices. You need to focus on issues which directly affect business. Focus on the following questions. For example, what's the real impact? How many users? What's about money? What's about servers? And other measurable metrics. And then you can make levels for your alerts, and you need to have a question: should we focus on this firing alert immediately, or it can wait until some reason like resolving of another issue, or we can just postpone it for a few days? I hope no. Think about this question after alert is firing. Adopting it, you will be able to extend, automate, and go through postmortems to find more root causes and dig deeper. After all of your team members will confirm the safety first principle I've showed previously from the previous slide. So after war, we will review all postmortems that we already have to understand and find the things which matters. And few advices for the DevOps team leads. Hope it will be helpful. And if you are not a DevOps team lead, you can take a look from the different angle from managing team in crisis times. So few advices that I have. First of all, probably you need to ensure in emotional health of your team, and you need to provide your assistance personally if it's needed. Create meetings, check status board of reported of your team members reporting and see how it's going, talk to them, understand what's the real situation. On a team sync, you need to transparently share company updates and send team questions that you don't know the answers to the closest all hands. And in our case, our company provides a big assistance for the team members who already have been abroad. Our company create an office in Poland, create office in Romania, give detailed instructions of paying taxes, policies, rules of the country, and other stuff. From the other hand, there was so many volunteers in our company, so squad grouped them into one big volunteer team, volunteer huddle, and set up a fund for supporting team members who joined into military resources to fill all their needs and all requests. And as a team lead, the very important stuff, pretty important like safety first, that you must provide a way of contributing into big victory. So you must share your vision how every team member can contribute into big Ukrainian victory. For sure, we are working and we are contributing meaningful part of salary directly to Ukraine victory. That's a must. Volunteers work quicker than government and can close many requests before big government machine will process it. And one more hidden story about our company in machine learning and our guys, that part of our engineers work together with gaming company, which have a huge amount of 3D models of enemy military tanks and military equipment. And I know there are some helpful models that can detect that something goes wrong or some enemy trying to move near the camera. So pretty nice point actually. Then I want to highlight that our team members built an open source bot for pinging employees, every employee for every day, and this bot requests an additional information about employee state, like actual location, to check is it safety zone or not, check current availability to work in percent, check the internet connection results and other stuff. So on the company wide angle, it very transparent. Is there any chance to make a progress or not? Additionally, trust is a key here. So you should never push your engineers, because your engineers in stress and they will do their best when keep to the safe place and families keep to the safe place. So never push your team. And you should be prepared and be ready for the huge amount of internet connectivity issues, team member availability, and other issues. But you should continuously heal your team, spend your time to heal your team, and help everywhere they need it. So if something happens with your team, it will be extremely awful incident comparing to the alert from the Ops Genie. You know what I mean. The next advice related to spending all your time to build processes, so the processes works without you. In different words, automatically. Try to spend the time, teach and educate your team about processes you want to see. Your team should be self-driving and self-efficient, and your team should know what to do when you're offline or on a medical leave, or like any other crisis situation. So your team must know how to start the new sprint, how to take tickets from the backlog, how to change priorities if it's needed, and how to report to the management. For some reason, after building a self-driven and self-efficient team, you will realize that the team still needs you, but for more complex and more highly level issues. It means you will save your time for yourself. You will build a self-driving team and grow potential team leader, which can pick up everything when you're kind of downtime. And that's amazing achievement from my perspective. You can easily verify it. Try to drop off for 1 month or more and see how it's going. Make a second iteration if it's not work as you expect. And I can confirm it's real and that's achievable. Building a self-driving team will be a most challenging part of a team lead responsibility because there always one anti-pattern that always appears in real life. It's this anti-pattern called to treat your team like a child. I think you understand how it looks in real life when you're trying to protect your team in every place that you can. So please save balance in it. For more information, for additional data here, check software engineering at the Google book to get more data. And for sure, do not hesitate to continuously sync with your business, your management, and your clients. These syncs will give you needed direction and navigation across their priorities. And from your side, you can focus on cost optimizing and improving metrics like time to acknowledge or time to resolve for incidents. And you should always be ready to roll your sleeves up. You must be ready for support your engineers and finish the most important job together with your team members if it's needed. And think about creating and validating a new formula for estimating and measuring tasks, projects to fit into the new normal. We are living during war, and it comes our new normal. So the new projects can appear, and you must have a way of giving real estimations. After moving to the safe place and healing from shock, your team potentially will have ability to work. Double check their time zones, preferred time, and open time slot for rotation. Rotation schedule must be built with infrastructure as code, Terraform for sure. So you will be able to integrate your rotation and escalation schedule with real team members' availability. If you can recall, I've mentioned a status bot a few slides before that our team helping it. This bot pinging every day our employees. So think about integrating this availability data into rotation schedule through API, and you will have like two automated pipeline here. And think about including developers into rotation schedule for sure for their services only, because it will extend rotation list, and involving developers into production environment always a positive change. So consider it in future. And the very important stuff that you can prepare starting right now is to make your applications self-healing and architect for failure. Unfortunately, applications not stable as we want. Network connectivity can flop, servers can just stuck, database can restart, and out of memory killer always here, looking for memory leaks, wanted to restart your pods. Unfortunately, DevOps world created a huge amount of approaches on how to build stable and reliable software. For preventing many incidents, add queues, retriers, circuit breaker pattern. So every failed request, you will perform a retry. In case the retry request fails as well, that's time for the exponentially multiply the retry, or it can be sent to the delayed queue. And even this remote queue not available, you can always share to the you can always save to the shared storage and try to process in a few days from some cron and other process. So think about fallbacks. That's always helpful and can prevent downtimes, can prevent losing of data. Also, liveness probes in Kubernetes can remove pod from workloads. Scheduler will restart the killed pod, and Kubernetes doing it in an amazing way. So consider migrating to the Kubernetes if you're still on self-hosted servers with just operating system on top. Into this point, from development side, you need to add endpoints for liveness and readiness. You need to properly expose metrics from your app. You should implement rate limits everywhere that you can. That everywhere that you can with user customer facing endpoints which can be overloaded, because that's always better to run some status code like 4 to 9 comparing to just fail the request. And you always have ability to write code without issues comparing to the self-healing apps. For sure, that's a joke. Like, proceed to the points I've described previously. and any incident, even the biggest incident in your life will not affect the business, your team, and your project. Nothing can be so hard as managing incidents if you're inside another bigger incident. Anyway, you always have a chance to make your infrastructure, applications, pipelines, workflow, workloads, and all processes you following as strong as Ukraine now, and Ukraine or Ukrainian organizers for setting up this conference during the war. Many thanks to you, hidden team, which did an outstanding job. I know that you're listening it. Thank you. As a result, all our team members passed the first shock days and successfully comes to the safe places. We delivered few valuable applications for company, country, military forces. Every team member donating money from own salary as usual to stand with Ukraine. And part of team already moved back to Kyiv, and I'm presenting the slides from the capital of brave Ukraine. I'm so grateful to share our approach, how to do incident management in a DevOps way during the war with you. And I'm willing you will never need it and use it, but you will be always prepared. Thanks for watching. That's all that I have from my side. And one more thing, this picture represents the real nature in Ukraine. And the colors are fully equal to Ukrainian flag. So for us, it means not just the colors, it's our lives and it's our country. And many thanks for standing with Ukraine.
Well, thank you so much for that important, difficult, heartfelt, interesting, insightful, useful discourse. Really, really appreciate you sharing your experiences, sharing your in some cases hard-earned and hard-won lessons. So really, thank you so much for that. A lot of comments coming in on the chat. I of course have a bunch of notes here. I wanted to just point out, I really like the angle you come out a little earlier talking about, hiring. Diversity is an important thing in the hiring process. A lot of talk on diversity and seeing it as a mechanism for resiliency, seeing it as a mechanism for reliability. I think that's a very interesting angle and one that doesn't get a lot of play. So kudos to you for bringing that up. I think that's actually quite interesting. One of the questions that came up in the chat, and I want to get onto this though, is a bit more practical. It's about runbooks. How do we keep runbooks up to date? How do we do that?
Okay, that's nice, because from my perspective, I think that any documentation can be up to date, because like 1 second after changing, and you need to change your documentation because some endpoint or argument or function have been changed. So I can suggest to add additional workflow step into Jira for the particular type of task that you can create a custom one. For example, alert, when you need to change alert or fix existing one, you can create a task with type alert in Jira with custom pipeline, and this pipeline will have additional workflow step, like as usual you have to do in progress, or review and done, and you should paste between it change the runbook so it will be actual. That's a way how it can be resolved. I don't know what's the state of infrastructure and monitoring platform in this particular case. Probably it can be automated somehow, auto-generating and other related stuff need to check additionally, but this suggestion of additional workflow step should work.
Excellent, thank you. So there's so much more to dive into here. So many more directions this conversation could go. So I would strongly suggest that this really just move into the open spaces afterwards, right? When we talk about what can we do to achieve reliability, to achieve resiliency, to achieve continuity, even under dire circumstances? I think this is a super important topic, and one which should absolutely be worthy of a solid open space towards the end of the day today. But thank you so much, Oleg, for coming again and sharing from your experiences, from your wisdom, from your lessons. Really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Many thanks. Bye.